Hey everyone, it's Michelle.
And Brayden.
And this is Spooky Shit. So this week we're going to be talking about unidentified serial killers. I'm going to start out by talking about the Freeway Phantom.
And I am going to talk about the I-70 Strangler.
Warning. This episode may contain graphic details. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, first things first. Brayden, why does that sound familiar?
Because I've used it before.
Ooh. Okay, so the thing is, everyone, behind the scenes, I found out that maybe I shouldn't have posted this tourney because someone might have already decided on a name. So we're going to do a rundown of the tourney and go through these names and see if Brayden's like it or like what the fuck's happening. Okay. So I'm just gonna say some names. Tell me what you're thinking. Adrian and Aiden.
I like Aiden more.
Aiden or Alejo.
Aiden.
Ooh, all right, Aiden. Because it rhymes with Brayden.
Yeah.
No!
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I've always really liked that name. That we actually we used, well, Alaris and we always said if we had two kids, it'd be Aiden and Adeline.
You know, I think that you told me Aiden before that was like your Animal Crossing villager's name because you were trying out that name. Oh shit, how funny.
So I do like that name, but then I kind of rather keep it for my son.
Okay, true.
So we'll see.
Kane or Kai?
I like Kai.
We didn't test out either of these names if none of them sound familiar to you. There's gonna be quite a few of these names that we didn't get to. Kai or Aiden?
Aiden.
Damn. And you already kind of said you're not going to choose Aiden because you're concerned with your son. I just need to fill out this tourney. Like, I need to see it filled out, so I'm sorry. And maybe there's a chance I'm going to say name here and be like, oh my god, Brayden's not the winner. We'll see. So, Carter or Anakin?
Carter.
Dang. You practice Anakin? You didn't even practice Carter.
I mean, my mom called me that because she actually really liked that name.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it was only like once or twice, but meh.
Alright, well, Carter Ezra.
Ezra.
Can you imagine if it would have been this fast whenever we first started this?
You should have just done this where I don't really think about it too much, you know? That was my problem.
Dang, we're stupid. Why did we do that?
That was my problem. I would just like sit and look at the long ass list that I created and like think about it too much.
Oh my god. We're
like
fools. That's fucking funny. Ugh. Alright, well, Josiah or Elliot?
Elliot.
Okay, Elliot Page. Elliot or my favorite Milo?
Milo.
Hell yeah. Milo coming in. Milo or Ezra?
Milo.
Damn, Milo M&M podcast. What?
Spooky M&Ms.
Spooky M&Ms. Could be. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe Milo will win. Asher and Elijah?
Asher.
Yeah. So if you don't follow our Instagram, so far the only two that we'd gone through was Elijah or Sam, and Elijah won. And now, I mean, you can hear we've just done like 10 names knocked out already.
Also, shout out to Sam.
Sammy.
I didn't mean to offend you.
Yes, sorry, Sammy.
I personally, for myself, it just didn't fit. But you have a beautiful name.
Yeah, I have a friend named Sammy that commented and was like, dang, mine's the first name taken out. Sorry, Sammy. All right, Emiliano or Arlo?
Arlo.
I really like Arlo too. Arlo or Asher?
I think Arlo. Arlo's up there.
Okay. All right. Brayden or Bryant?
Brayden.
This is when you realize, oh my god, I like Bryant more. Leandro or Brayden?
Brayden.
I was already typing Brayden. I mean, you introduced yourself as Brayden this week. It's got to at least make it to the finals.
Yes.
Spencer or Dean?
Dean.
All right, Dean or Brayden? Did you answer? Was that
no,
silent?
I didn't. It was just silence.
I was like, it glitched at the worst time. What happened?
I'm making you wait.
Okay. Drum roll, please.
Brayden.
You know, it would have been fucking hilarious if you're like, wait, Dean? Okay. Aiden or Milo?
Milo.
Hell yeah. M&M coming in the finals. Arlo or Brayden? Remember, you are not allowed to change your name after this. This tourney is life or death.
Oh my god.
No changes.
Let's
no
just
edits.
end it right there then.
Do you want to? Or do you want to choose between Arlo and Brayden? It's
That's
not really
hard,
life or
'cause
death. You can change your name later if you want.
I actually really like both. What are the other two?
There isn't one. It's just down to Milo on the other side.
Oh.
We are in the semi-finals right now. So if you want me to save it, that's fine. Bro, we just knocked out like 18 names?
Damn.
I can save it. You don't actually have to choose right now. And if you do choose, you're allowed to change it. I'll allow that.
You'll allow it.
I'll allow it. Yeah, I'm a gracious dog.
Those are like the top 3 so far.
Okay.
The other ones, like I kind of like the longer I look at it, I'm like, nah, I don't really like them, you know?
Okay. The fact that you said so far, watch you introduce a new name next week. I have to edit the entire bracket.
Nah.
Okay.
I definitely really like Brayden, and actually, I don't remember if I said last time, my sisters and my mom actually have all been calling me Brayden.
I don't remember you saying your sisters. I remember you saying Alaris and your mom, yeah.
Oh, well, my sisters too. They both are calling me Brayden now.
Damn.
And my brother, he still hasn't really grasped it all. He kind of doesn't really understand it, so he does like still call me Brandy or like his sister.
Oh.
he's kind of getting used to it.
He'll
like,
catch on.
He'll kind of be like, oh, I love, like, I don't know, I can't really think of an exact thing he'll say, but he'll be like, oh, like, you're like my favorite sister or brother or whatever.
He's almost there.
Yeah, he's better because before he actually was kind of mean and was like,
really?
Nah, you'll always be my sister and shit like that.
Was it just because he was like so surprised or something?
No, he's like I've said before, he's autistic and does have like, he's slower.
Yeah.
Just doesn't, it's hard for him to grasp certain things or like understand them.
Yeah.
So I tried not to take it personally because like I knew he didn't mean it like that.
It's not against you or anything. He just doesn't really get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But he's kind of getting used to it. Like he's still a little
messes up sometimes.
Yeah, but for the most part, like he is trying. Like he's like calling me, like he called me Brayden too. He's like whatever.
You're just gonna confuse him now if you choose Milo or something.
Well, I actually like, I do like Arlo, but I don't know how I would feel about it. Like I kind of think it's a really nice name, but then I don't know for myself, you know?
Okay. Should I just choose Brayden as the winner here, or like leave them both?
I mean, I guess you might as well.
Might as well leave them?
No, like might as well choose Brayden.
Damn, we are into the finale right now. It is Milo versus Brayden.
Why not both?
Why not both? Milo, Brayden.
Brayden, Milo.
M&M spooky shit. What part of that did you not understand?
I mean, I called my grandma for her birthday, and like she asked me to. She was like, "Have you chosen a name?" Or like, and I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "Everyone's calling me Brayden right now." I was like, "But I really like the name Milo."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, I really like that name." She was like, "I'm gonna call you that."
Oh.
And so I was like, kind of like my brother. He says, because I've said like I've been telling them that I was like thinking of like giving myself a middle name too.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm kind of like Braden Milo. And they were like, my brother was like, "Oh, I like Milo because it's easier for me to say," and I was like, "Well, cool." And then
he really said I paid him $20 for the M&M thing.
But then like Alaris, we kind of talked about it because she has like, it's Alaris Valeria, and like some people call her Valeria and some people call her Alaris. So
oh really?
She was like, yeah,
I didn't know that.
Like all of her family members, like basically all of them, call her by her middle name.
So weird.
Even her brother. Well, now he calls her Alaris more, but
I've never heard of people going by their middle and first name. I've heard of people just going by their middle name, but never both. That's so interesting.
I mean, I feel like in Latinos, it's kind of common.
I'm very
my mom goes by her. Yeah, my mom goes by her middle name.
Oh, you told me that. See, well, okay, I'm used to that, but not like if she went by her first name too, and just like different people call different things. But I guess it's kind of like how people call Robert Rob or Rob or Robbie, and I'm like, who the fuck is Robbie?
I mean, she does go by her first name, like for, like when she goes to like stores and stuff.
Oh, really?
Like, or the doctors. Like she's like, oh, Sophia. But
I didn't even know her first name was Sophia. Weird.
Oh yeah, it's Sophia, and then her middle name's Adriana.
Oh, so weird. I really like the name Adriana, though.
Yeah, I know a few people. I have a good friend named Adriana.
Is it your mom?
No, she's... no.
Sound like your besides mom joke.
My mom. Besides my mom. I have another
really good friend.
I mean, I don't talk to her much, but I still consider her a good friend.
Okay. But does this mean we got sidetracked? You're actually choosing Braden Milo, or should we keep it on hold?
I don't know. I think I have to make a decision. No more.
Oh, right now on the podcast.
I think so because I've been pushing this off.
This is live, folks. This is happening live.
It's happening. I decided it's Braden Milo.
Oh, motherfuck. Okay, we're doing it. Braden Milo, spelled Milo wrong. Hey, now you have 2 Y's.
Yeah.
You should change Padilla in your last name to put a Y in it.
I mean, the only thing that would, like, stop me is if my dad suggests his name, because I asked him.
He doesn't have one, though, huh?
Well, he hasn't responded to me.
Taking his time. What if he sent back Braden Milo?
That'd be trippy.
Wait. Better yet, what if he said Milo? Would we change it? I can't call you by your middle name. I'm not used to that because then it'll just confuse myself. I have to choose one.
Then choose one and just call me it.
Braden. Well, you can't introduce yourself as Braden every episode. And I'm like, so Milo.
Okay, then for the podcast, I'll be Milo.
No, we're not going to do that. Your name's Braden now.
Well, it's both.
You're ruining my life. But
okay. Sorry.
Also, let it be known that we were talking about names before we started. And I've like been doing so good at all these names. And then once you're like, oh, I'm going to say Braden, like, that's going to be my name for this episode. I fucked up and was like, oh, Brandon? And I was like, oh, no. Is this what life's going to be now?
I was like, fuck no. No offense to any Brandons out there.
All the Brandons right now. Those are all who listen to us.
It's too close to my name.
And you have a cousin, you said, right? Yeah.
And I have a cousin named Brandon. And it was just already like confusing
Sam
enough.
All over again. Okay. So you are Braden. Whenever I went to save this image, I almost printed it. I don't even have a printer, but I clicked it. I'm so excited. I'm going to hang it up on my wall.
That's hilarious. So, but I mean, yeah, I mean, ever since my mom and like them started calling me Braden, like
she's been calling you it too, though.
Mm-hmm.
I've just been saying Brand behind the scenes because obviously I'm the one that you're testing a million names out on, so I don't know which one to call you.
Yeah, true.
All right, Braden.
But yeah, I don't know. It really kind of been like, nah, not that one.
It just grows on you having like a stupid ass name. I'm not going to suggest any, but use your creative mind. Yep. Imagine a week and a half after we record it. So should I wait to post it, I guess?
Yeah, I guess you can.
Yeah. I mean, no one will know that we are in the future going to be calling you Brayden. Well, okay, I'm just making it confusing. We'll just wait to post it till the episode's out.
Or post it like the week before.
Oh, I'll post it and then I'll blur out like the middle of it.
There you go.
Or I'll put like a
countdown.
I don't know.
Countdown to the reveal.
It is kind of funny that you came out and then you started tea and then everyone's like, oh my gosh, I want to be respectful. Like, I'm using he, him pronouns. What's your name? And you're like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, that's kind of like another reason I kind of want to just choose one. And I mean, I do like it. So I'm like, fuck it. Like, let's do it.
Just change your name in the future if you want. Who gives a shit?
You're right. I can.
I forgot that people could just change their names. And I saw someone on Twitter and they were like, my mom's changed her name 3 times just because she wanted to. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I like it though. Hey, Robert. It's Brayden. Confirmed. # confirmed. Brayden wasn't his favorite.
Oh, really?
He never told me what his favorite was. What was your favorite name?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, well, this is Brayden.
Right.
I want to know.
Milo. He said it doesn't matter.
But I want to know.
Brayden wants to know. What was your favorite?
I can't remember all 32 names, and it is.
Also, the fact that I'm like, it wasn't 32. It was 21. Like, that's so far off.
It was like 10 more.
I know, right? Okay. How have you been, Brayden? 20 minutes in. How are you? I don't know if you have much more going on. I mean, yeah, you don't have to share much more if you don't want to. Like, we've already made a big dent in this episode.
I mean, I got a haircut and I really like it.
Oh my god. I was just trying to speak before we started recording, and every time I was talking, he was just sitting there like fixing his hair. And I'm like, are you even fucking listening to me?
Yes, I was listening.
I think once you didn't hear me and I had to be like, hello?
I was listening.
You're very into your hair right now. And I'm glad that you're feeling yourself.
I do. Like, I've been feeling myself with this haircut. I'm going to have to get it again.
Yeah. Oh, are you going to give yourself haircuts after you go to barber school?
Probably.
Ooh, saving money.
Hell yeah. Make myself look fresh all the time.
Hell yeah. You just need to learn how to do this exact one. It does look really nice.
Thank you.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't know if I'm tripping. I feel like your voice sounds a little deeper. But also, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I can't tell.
I mean, your body's literally going through like puberty again, basically. So it could be.
Basically. I mean, usually I don't think it happens. It's gonna be.
Oh my gosh. You started on Halloween? No, you've done 3. Mm-hmm. The 31st, the 7th, and the 14th.
Yeah.
It's almost a month. You're done with your first fucking month. Okay, the beard should be here in a matter of weeks.
It's gonna take longer than that.
Before your voice even gets deep all the way, you just have a full beard.
Imagine. It would be funny. But I haven't really noticed a change. Well, actually, I did notice when we went to a Harry Styles concert.
Oh yeah,
on Monday, and I did notice because usually, like, I scream sing. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I heard your Snapchat story before that other concert. I know what you mean.
Like, I sing, but like I'm yelling at the same time. You're just
yelling at Harry Styles.
Well, yeah. Well, like usually I can hit like. Well, I mean, I'm not a singer or anything, but
no,
I can,
you hit them like Mariah Carey.
Yeah, like I can hit them really high notes, but I noticed at the concert, like I was trying to, but it actually like really hurt my throat.
Oh my god!
And I was like. Like it did us like hurt, and so I started singing like all low, like man,
watermelon sugar.
No, like dead ass. I started singing like that, and then I was like, okay, it doesn't hurt, and I was like kind of sad. God. But that's the only thing that I kind of noticed that I can't like really try to hit those high notes anymore. Like it hurts.
This is the worst side effect of testosterone I've heard. You can't hit high notes anymore at concerts.
I haven't noticed anything else major other than that, like, I just kind of have, like, more energy now.
Oh, really?
Like,
that's so random. Like... I was not expecting that to be, like, a thing at all.
I mean, I don't know if it's a thing, but I just, like, have noticed that, like, I can't really sleep in anymore. Like, I don't know, I just have like more energy.
It could just be that you're so relieved that you started it that you're naturally going to wake
the,
up.
The depression's going away.
Yeah, but we'll just think the testosterone. That's exciting.
But yeah, that's kind of it. Nothing major yet.
At the time of this recording, your birthday will have been just a few days ago.
You right.
Do you have plans yet?
No.
I got your present.
Oh, shit.
And your Christmas present. Well, one's on the way. I don't know which one I'm going to give to you, which I'm just going to like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It doesn't matter. It's not like they're themed. So I'm excited though. I don't know when the fuck I'll give that to you. Maybe if someone wanted to go to the stupid Whaley house, I'd give it to you then. But
I would say this weekend, but I have plans this weekend.
And it's not your birthday. I can't give you your present early.
You're right.
Wait, do we have to go on a weekend? You're not even working.
Oh, you're right.
I'm not working. We could go on like a Monday morning.
Sometimes I guess I forget I don't work.
I know. I'm like, I like doing stuff on weekdays now. Like going to Disneyland, Robert will be like, oh, Saturday. And I'm like, why are we going to Saturday if we could go on a Monday when there's no one there?
True.
It's sick. It was the only good part about working retail before is I'd randomly have weekdays off. Yeah, nothing else going on. You just chose your name. Whatever.
Yeah.
Big whoop.
How are you?
Oh,
what you been up to?
Finally, he asked. She got back. While walking back, at some point, Carol was abducted. Carol's terrified mother reported her as missing that night, and her neighbors began to search the neighborhoods looking for any sign of the young girl. It wasn't until 6 days later at around 2 p.m. that the body of Carol was found by children playing on a grassy embankment next to the I-295 and behind a hospital. She was fully dressed but missing her shoes, and an examination showed that she had been physically assaulted and raped before being strangled to death. She had cuts on her face, neck, chest, and both hands. Despite being missing for 6 days, the examination also showed that she had only been killed just a few days prior, meaning that her killer had kept her alive for days before her death. Citrus fruit was also found in her stomach, which backed up the theory that she'd been kept alive and fed. Also found on her body were green synthetic fibers. While looking into the case, investigators spoke to the 7-Eleven clerk who said that he did indeed see Carol leaving with her items. They also talked to a 14-year-old who had been, I guess this man told his boss about it, and the boss also drove by, saw the body, and proceeded to call a friend of his who worked as a DC police sergeant. The sergeant had been off work that day, but drove along the side of the road until he was able to find the body and officially get it called in. How do you find the body of a teenager and call it in, and then you go back a week later and it's still there? Like,
that's
what?
Ridiculous.
Like, stop your fucking car. Oh my god. I hope that those people got in trouble, but I doubt that they did.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
Yeah. Like the victim before her, Darlena too was found fully dressed except her shoes, but she was too decomposed to tell if she'd been strangled or sexually assaulted, although there were supposedly evidence of strangulation. And I read this on exactly one source, so take this with a grain of salt. But the source said that the other call that the police had received the week before about the body was from an anonymous person who reportedly included details about the body that only the killer could have known. But, like I said, couldn't really find that anywhere else. The third and youngest victim of the Highway Phantom was 10-year-old Brenda Fay Crockett. Brenda had dimples that she loved to show off while smiling for pictures. She had lots of friends and enjoyed going to church. She stood at just 4'6" and weighed 75 pounds, and she had a 7-year-old little sister named Bertha. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's upsetting. That's why I warned her from the beginning. On July 27th, 1971, Brenda had been sent by her mom, Retha, to the local Safeway to pick up some bread and pet food for the 3 dogs. Brenda left around 8 p.m., barefoot and wearing pink foam hair curlers in her hair, as the rest of the neighborhood kids were all getting together for movie night in the street. I just thought that was so cute to imagine a little 10-year-old with their little curlers being like, time to go to the store. Retha had incorrectly assumed that her daughter would be taking a friend with her on her walk. When the little girl didn't arrive back to her northwest DC home within an hour, the Crockett's began to get scared. Retha left her younger daughter at home with her boyfriend and left to go search for her daughter. Around 9:20 p.m., the Crockett phone rang and was answered by Bertha. On the other line was a crying Brenda who told her sister a white man had snatched her up and took her somewhere in Virginia, but that he was soon going to send her home in a cab. Before being able to get any more information, Brenda very suddenly said bye and hung up. 25 minutes later, the phone rang again. This time, it was answered by Brenda's mom's boyfriend, and again, it was the missing little girl on the other line. The boyfriend, who was told about the call by Bertha, asked Brenda if she knew where she was in Virginia, but she said no before asking, "Did my mother see me?" This confused the boyfriend, and he asked how she'd be able to see her if she was over in Virginia. The mom's boyfriend asked to speak to the man who took Brenda and heard heavy footsteps in the background before she whispered, "Well, I'll see you," and hung up. The next morning, around 5:50 a.m., a hitchhiker found Brenda's body in a visible area on Route 50. Like the other victims, she was found dressed except her shoes, and she had been raped and strangled. A scarf was knotted under her neck, and green synthetic fibers were found on her clothes. Mm-hmm. When authorities became involved, they very quickly decided that the calls were likely the kidnapper's idea to throw off police, and all the information given was probably inaccurate. One investigator thought it was really weird that the killer had called not just once but twice, and how Brenda had asked if her mom had seen her. And they theorized that perhaps the killer knew Retha Crockett and wanted to make 100% sure she did not witness the kidnapping. Because I didn't think about that, and why would she be allowed to call twice,
Yeah.
She was probably so scared the first time she didn't ask what she was supposed to be calling for.
Or maybe when the mom went out to look for her. She
Oh.
drove by somewhere or where they were.
That's
so she asked.
Even worse. That's even fucking worse. Oh my god, that's really sad to think about. Ugh. 12-year-old Nina Moshiya Yates had been walking home from a Safeway in Northeast D.C. around 7 p.m. on October 1st, 1971 when she was abducted. Nina Moshiya was a 6th grader at a local junior high and weighed 104 pounds. The grocery store was just a block from her family's apartment, and she'd been sent to buy sugar, flour, and paper plates as her stepmom had just given birth and her dad needed to be with his wife and the baby at the hospital, so they just assigned her this little task. 2 hours after being kidnapped, Nina Moshiya's body was found off the shoulder of Pennsylvania Avenue in Maryland by a 16-year-old boy. She was still warm to the touch. She had been raped and strangled and was found dressed except for her shoes. Again, unidentified green fibers were found in her clothing. One witness claimed to see her gang into a blue Volkswagen, but this lead didn't lead anywhere. Following this 4th murder, the media first began to suspect that they had a serial killer on the loose, a killer who they began to refer to as Freeway Phantom. The next murder victim was 18-year-old Brenda Denise Woodard. On the night of November 15, 1971, she had just had dinner with one of her high school classmates at Ben's Chili Bowl in Northwest D.C. She attended night class at the school to get better at her typing and shorthand skills. And following their meal, the pair went to board a bus around 11:30 p.m. to head back to their respective homes. Normally, the friend would go and drive Brenda home, but it just so happened that day his car was in the shop, so he couldn't. Brenda got off alone at 8th and H Streets Northeast to transfer to another bus while the friend continued on. Around 6 hours later, Brenda's body was found by a cop in a grassy area near Prince George's County Hospital along a ramp to Route 202. The police officer said, "I shined my flashlight into her eyes to see if there was life. She didn't blink. She didn't do anything." This crime scene was different from the rest of the murders thus far. So Brenda had still been wearing her shoes and had her coat placed on her chest, underneath which her turtleneck was on inside out. Buttons were missing from her coat and skirt. She had been raped and strangled, but she'd also been stabbed 4 times as well. She had wounds on her hands that confirmed that she fought back with her killer. So my thinking is she got stabbed because she was fighting back. And she was 18. She's the oldest of the victims, probably stronger, not just 100 pounds, can actually put up a little bit of a fight. But in the pocket of Brenda's coat was a note saying, "This is tantamount to my insensitivity to people, especially women. I will admit the others when you catch me if you can. Signed, Freeway Phantom." investigations concluded that Brenda had written this note herself as it matched other handwriting samples, and she'd likely just been told by the killer what to write. Interestingly, though, there didn't seem to be any signs of distress in the writing, and one quote even said, "There were no signs that she was nervous when she wrote the note. You don't think calmly like that if someone has kidnapped and assaulted you." And some people theorize that this means Brenda knew her attacker. Which I agree and don't agree. Like, maybe she thought that, like, if she knew them, she could have just been like, oh, they're just, like, fucking around. Like, I'm gonna write this for them, whatever. But
It's
also,
so weird, though.
It's really weird. Like, I do wonder if maybe there was signs of distress, or maybe she was able to chill herself out. I'm like, I don't know. I just can't imagine how they look at it and be like, oh, yeah, she wasn't nervous at all when she's writing that. Unless she thought it was like a joke or something, but I don't think so.
Yeah, that's sus.
It's super sus. For a while, it seemed like maybe the Freeway Phantom had ended his string of murders until nearly a year later on September 5th, 1972, when he took his last known victim. 17-year-old high school senior Diane Denise Williams had spent the evening cooking dinner for her family before going to visit her boyfriend's house. Diane had a great sense of style, and she wanted to be a model when she got older, but first she would have to attend college with the money that her dad had been saving for her. She was last seen boarding a bus around 11:20 p.m. by her boyfriend who had walked her to her stop. Just a few hours later, Diane's strangled body was found along I-295. Unlike the other victims, Diane was still wearing her shoes, and I read conflicting reports on whether or not she had been sexually assaulted, but I do believe that there was semen found on her. The money that had been saved for her to go to school ended up having to be used to pay for her to be buried. In 1974, the FBI created a task force to find the Freeway Phantom, a task force that at one point had 100 detectives and federal agents on it. A profile was put together of the killer, and it was believed that he was a black male with at least a high school education and average or above average intelligence. He was probably employed, knew how to start conversations with women, but not how to maintain healthy relationships. And he likely either lived alone or with an older woman and knew the neighborhoods where he was taking these girls. In 1987, some investigators began to consider another murder victim from 1972 as a victim of the Freeway Phantom. 18-year-old Tierra Ann Bryant was found under a bridge in Maryland, but her case was never 100% connected to the case, as she was found in like a different area. But I don't think that necessarily means anything, because he could have just changed the locations after all like the stuff happening in DC, and Maryland is not very far. I mean, one of the victims was technically found in Maryland. So I'm going to go over some of the suspects considered by investigators I stumbled upon my research. First, this is going to be a short one, is Edward Sullivan and Tommy Simmons. So before I talk about these two, I need to do a bit of backstory. Just 2 days after the body of the first victim, Carol Spinks, was found, another body was actually found. This body belonged to 14-year-old Angela Denise Barnes, who I did not mention before. The MO was a little different in Angela's case, as she'd been shot, but she was still found near a highway, so she was believed to be a victim of the Freeway Phantom. This was actually believed for 3 years until 1974, when 2 former cops by the name of Edward Sullivan and Tommy Simmons were arrested for her murder.
Sheesh.
Yeah, they I guess they retired the year that they killed her. I don't know, they were trying to seem less suspicious or some shit. Like, the fuck? Initially, of course, they were considered as suspects for all of the Freeway Phantom murders, but they were eventually found to not be involved in the 6 other killings. Another strong suspect I'm going to be talking about is a man named Robert Askins. 58-year-old Robert Askins became a suspect in March of 1977 when he was charged with the abduction and rape of a 24-year-old woman inside his DC home. A homicide detective decided to question Robert and found out that he had previously been charged with murder on several different occasions. Not once, not twice, several.
I'm sorry, what?
I know. On December 28th, 1938, Robert had been a 19-year-old student when he served cyanide-laced whiskey to 5 sex workers at a brothel, an action which resulted in the death of 31-year-old Ruth McDonald.
Dude, what the fuck kind of psycho?
What? I've never even heard of something like this before. serving them cyanide-laced drinks. The fuck?
Why?
Because he sucks? He later claimed that the cyanide was supposed to just be for him to kill himself, which is weird because just 2 days after this murder, Robert stabbed 26-year-old sex worker Elizabeth Johnson to death at the same location. He's like, I was trying to stab myself to kill myself. It was an accident. And then, upon being arrested, he told police that he was a woman hater and wanted revenge because he'd gotten an STD from a sex worker earlier that year. So he forgot to use a condom and was murdering women for that. Like, go get fucking antibiotics. Chill out. Robert was put under mental observation, and while he was there, he briefly broke up his restraints and assaulted 3 orderlies with a chair before being resecured. He was trying to kill himself with the chair. Like this guy, I can't. God. During his murder trials, Robert was revealed to be a police informant who helped cops in the arrest of sex workers. So again, he like really wants revenge on these people because he got a fucking STD. I'm like, you made that choice, dude. You probably didn't use a condom. That's on you. In 1939, he was found to be criminally insane and was committed to St. Elizabeth's Hospital. Unfortunately, he was not there that long and was released in April of 1952. Just 5 months after his release, he was arrested again for strangling 42-year-old Laura Cook to death. Sheesh. He was trying to strangle himself. I don't even know what this guy's issue is right now. He was indicted for this new murder, accused of several other similar assaults, and was actually even retried for the original 1938 murders, as it was now decided that he had indeed been sane at the times he committed them. He was found guilty of second-degree murder this time around and sentenced to 20 years to life. But 20 years quickly turned into much less when the conviction was overturned in 1958 due to a legal technicality. Since that time, as far as I could tell, Robert had remained out of prison until the 1977.
I'm going to talk about the I-70 Strangler.
All right. That sounds like a barrel of laughs.
You can do unidentified interstate killers.
We could get me more specific. Well, we're going to hopefully be doing something like also weirdly similar in the future, because I found out about this place, 2 different places. It's the Highway of Tears and Texas Killing Fields. Just both intense names, really. Where, like, a lot of people have, like, gone missing or, like, bodies been found. And that could have potentially been the work of multiple serial killers. So we're going to talk about that soon. That will be unidentified interstate killers. Well, no, the Texas is a field, damn it. It's an interstate field.
All right. So, the I-70 Strangler is an unidentified American serial killer who killed 12 gay men in Indiana and Ohio between June 1980 and October 1991.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was a long-ass period.
Yeah.
But yeah, the killer would dump their bodies near the interstate I-70. So that's where he got his name from.
Oh! No, I'm just kidding.
And I mean, you can guess how he got the Strangler name.
The Strangler?
Strangler? Did I say that? Oh my god.
How? He was strangularing them?
Yes, he was strangularing.
Wait, this reminded me once whenever my mom was in town and we were like watching my nieces, one of them like choked on her food a little bit. And my mom was like, oh, she's strangling. And I was like, that's not the same thing.
No. The food is strangling her from the inside.
Apparently. I mean, that's kind of what choking is, right?
Like, yeah. It kind of is. Traffickers. They kind of insinuated that maybe his death has something to do with that.
Yeah. Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
None of the other victims were.
And some witnesses claim that they had seen Eric at a bus stop in the early morning of March 7th. But instead of waiting for the bus, he accepted a ride from a passing car.
Oh, no.
Which is, like, interesting. I feel like you must know somebody. You wouldn't just... I hope you wouldn't just get into a stranger's car, you know?
I mean, there's people like that, though. We did
That's
the whole
true.
Hitchhiking Gone Wrong episode.
Very true, very true. I take it back.
But it is weird if he was already planning on going the bus to being like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Unless you knew them.
he had been strangled with the rope. Because he had, like, rope burns. Sorry. The sixth victim was Michael Allen Glenn. He was a 29-year-old whose body was only found in underwear in a ditch near Eaton, Ohio. He was found in August of 1986. He had lived in a trailer park located in the outskirts of
Indianapolis?
Yes.
I think it's fun to say. I smiled when I said it. Indianapolis. I think. Yeah, sure.
He lived there.
Okay.
And I guess he worked as a handyman, so the exact date of his disappearance couldn't really be established because I guess it would like kind of come and go.
I need to have somebody like checking in on me every day, so if anything happens, they won't be like, I don't know. She sometimes just disappears.
I don't know when she disappeared, officer.
Oh God, scary.
And he also had strangulation marks on his neck, thought to be from a rope. And he actually originally was actually a John. I said actually like 3 times.
I didn't even notice.
He originally was actually a John Doe.
Oh, for how long was this one a John Doe?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
Is it because he was a fucking handyman? Like, what the fuck?
No, that's actually how they identified him, was his fingerprints.
Why did that take 3 years?
I don't know. I think they were just kind of waiting.
Seeing if someone comes forward, then they're like, well, I guess we'll have to do our jobs. No one's gonna come tell us.
I don't know the reason, but I just know it was 3 years before he was officially identified.
Jesus Christ.
So the 7th victim was James Robbins. He was a 21-year-old who went missing on October 15th, 1987, at around 10 p.m., shortly after leaving his mother's home in Indianapolis. I said it.
Then you ruined it by saying I said it.
I said it. But yeah, I guess
continue.
Anyways, yeah, he left his mom's house and was just walking.
Okay.
To the southern part of the city. 2 days later, his naked corpse was found with strangulation marks in a ditch in rural Shelby County, near the I-70. While investigating his murder, police located 2 witnesses who gave conflicting info.
Okay.
I guess one claimed that they had seen a red Jeep Renegade near the crime scene, while the other said that it was a Chevrolet Blazer, which are 2 very different cars.
Yeah, they sound very different. I mean, did they see both cars maybe?
Maybe. I'm like, maybe one of them like dumped the body and then the other one found it.
Yeah. I don't know.
That
seems, yeah, it's very interesting.
Very sus. But yeah, the 8th victim was Jean Paul Talbot. There's actually not much known about him, just that he was found strangled to death in May 1989, and his body had been dumped near a stream in Defiance County, Ohio.
Do we even know his age?
Mm-mm.
Ugh.
Yeah, just his name.
That's sad.
The 9th victim was Stephen L. Elliott.
L. Elliott?
L. Elliott.
Oh, like the initial L.
Yeah, the initial L.
I was thinking E-L, and I was like, how funny.
No. I mean the initial L. Like his middle name started with the L.
Okay, got it.
He was 26 years old, and his corpse was found in only underwear in the August of 1989 in rural Preble County. He had been strangled, presumably with a rope, and Stephen's father told police that his son came out as gay in 1979, which
what
was
a
like
god for doing that.
10 years earlier.
Wow.
And that he had left home and had gotten involved in prostitution and had developed an alcohol addiction.
Oh, fuck, that's sad.
But I was like, yo, was that his choice or was that yours?
Yeah, or did you kick him out probably when he came out?
I was like, it's a little sus.
Yeah, but he probably wouldn't admit to that after his kid died. He'd be like, I told him he could have stayed.
Yeah, he decided to leave.
He decided to leave and struggle.
I guess we'll never know.
We'll never know.
The 10th victim was Clay Russell Boatman. He was 32 years old and disappeared in August 1990. I guess he was leaving his Richmond apartment to, it's called Our Place. It was a local gay bar.
Okay.
He was actually a licensed practical nurse.
Oh, cool.
And his body was found in a ditch by a group of children near Eaton, Ohio.
A group of children.
Yes.
Oh.
That's traumatizing for those kids.
Jesus, yeah.
His family was interviewed, but they also denied that he was gay.
I mean, maybe he wasn't, but, like, at least consider the situation here, folks.
Yeah. I mean, did you really know him?
Yeah, did you really? Would you have made it clear that he could confide in you if he was gay? Probably not. Probably not.
Probably not. The 11th victim was Thomas Clevenger Jr. He was a 19-year-old who vanished without a trace in August of 1990. His semi-nude corpse was later found at an abandoned railroad track near Greenville, Ohio.
Fuck.
Yeah. Thomas grew up in a poor neighborhood of Indianapolis, and due to his rocky upbringing, he started committing crimes and drinking at an early age.
Oh.
At the age of 14, he actually attacked and stabbed his deputy headmaster.
Whoa.
And during his school years, he was actually diagnosed with an intellectual disability.
Mm-hmm.
Which caused him to have problems reading and writing.
And I'm sure they didn't really have the help that he needed at that school.
I doubt it. But yeah, shortly before his death, he engaged in prostitution near gay bars to earn money, which was a fact denied by his mother and sister.
I'm like, why do you have to be in denial about that? I mean, maybe it just makes them more... I'd like to think it's something like, it makes them sad to think that he couldn't go to them for help. But I know that's probably not it. I know it's probably because they don't like sex workers and they don't like gay people.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
The early 90s.
Still, damn.
And the 12th known victim was Otto Gary Becker. He was a 42-year-old whose body was found in a ditch next to Gravel Road in rural Henry County.
Much older than the rest.
Yeah, I think he's the oldest. Yeah, his body was found on October 7th, 1991.
Did they immediately think that he was connected, even though his age?
I don't think so.
So I know whenever you said the 14-year-old, they were like, well, we don't know because the age. I'm like, this guy's like... a lot bigger age difference.
No, I think it was just later because it was the same MO.
Yeah.
So while investigating his murder, police found several witnesses who saw Otto in a car with 200 men earlier in the day.
200 men?
2 other men.
Oh my god, I was like, what are you talking about? Is
Yep,
this
it's
a clown car?
It's a clown car. I meant to say 2 other men.
I thought you just said it wrong. Can't wait to hear that back and just hear which one of us is being weird.
It might have been me.
I'd love it if it was me. You're like 2 other, and I'm like 200.
But yeah, the car was driving north on the I-70 near Indianapolis. According to witnesses, one of the men was holding Otto down while the other man drove, which is sus.
So there might be 2 people.
Yes.
Ugh.
Possibly. Police actually showed the witnesses photographs of various criminals that had been convicted of kidnapping and murder, but they couldn't identify any of them.
Interesting.
But yeah. A task force of 8 officers was created by the Indianapolis police in 1982 to investigate the crimes. Following the discovery of Michael Andrew Riley, who was the 4th victim, 4 more men were added to the list of potential victims.
Ugh.
25-year-old Gary Davis, 27-year-old Dennis Bratjezi, 21-year-old John Roach, and 22-year-old Daniel McNeef.
Jesus, that's a lot of fucking people.
But yeah, like the other 12, they were homosexual, visited gay bars, and were killed in Indianapolis between August 1981 and May 1983.
Also strangled?
It doesn't say.
Okay. Well, I mean, probably if it.
But I assume so.
Yeah.
But yeah, in 1983, the FBI joined the investigation, and profiles suggested that the offenders showed volatile behavior when committing the murders. And I guess near the end.
How?
Well, you'll see.
Okay.
I guess near the end, it was determined that there were at least 2 different perpetrators. Yeah.
Fuck.
2 different, and like they work separately.
No.
Yeah,
I was so afraid you were gonna say that.
2 completely different. So, well, yeah, because of that like theory, they said that those last 4 that I mentioned were removed because they were like just different. Like they didn't really go with they didn't really go with the MO.
Jeez.
So it says that their killer was a white man between the ages of 20 and 30, worked in a job requiring low-skilled labor, was a fan of military paraphernalia, and led
Nazi
a healthy...
shit is probably what they mean.
Maybe. And led a healthy lifestyle. In his everyday life, he expressed homophobic views, but was a secretly closeted gay.
What do we think about that? Do we think that that's... I don't know. Sometimes whenever gay people have been killed, they're like, it's secretly a gay person who killed them. I'm like, or it could have been actually a homophobic person.
That's true, but I feel like most of like the really homophobic people are gay.
They just like cannot admit to themselves.
Well, yeah, and that's what they like the FBI said. They commit the murders out of shame and self-hatred.
Ugh. Like, no offense, but just kill yourself then. Jesus Christ.
Right? That's what
You gotta take like 11 other people down with you. What the fuck?
The fuck? But yeah, so that was like kind of like the profile they wrote for those 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the other 12 victims, they say that their killer was a white man, about 45 years of age, likely overweight, had a high-paying job, and was well-respected in his community.
John Wayne Gacy? The fuck?
Sounds like it.
I know.
They also concluded that the killer may be married but has no intimate relationship with his wife.
So it's literally John Wayne Gacy.
Yep, likely because his attraction to adolescent boys and young men. He feels shame and guilt that in addition to possibly destroying his career and reputation would result in a deep hatred and subsequent murder.
What the fuck? Now I hate myself because I keep thinking this sounds like John Wayne Gacy. But he also like assaulted and tortured kids, So unfortunately that just means that there's lots of serial killers that think this way.
Probably. But yeah, now I'm gonna talk about a few suspects. Or what do you call them? Like
persons of interest.
Yeah. But yeah, one of the first suspects was 47-year-old Duncan Peterson, a Florida native. In the fall of 1982, he was arrested in Indianapolis on charges of statutory rape against young boys.
Ew.
And shortly after his arrest, a friend of Devoid Baker, the 3rd victim, the only black kid, claimed that he had gotten into Duncan's van.
Okay, that's weird.
So Duncan later admitted that it was true and that he had paid the boy $20 for oral sex, which the two had in a hotel room. He denied killing him and claimed that he had taken him to the Indianapolis Central Library, where he let him go and saw him get into another van.
What the fuck are the chances of that? He meets one pedophile, runs into a murderer?
Slim to none.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is possible, but that's the worst luck ever if that happened.
Right?
What the fuck?
It did happen. Because his testimony was actually corroborated by another witness.
It wasn't like a wife or some shit like that, was it?
Mm-mm.
His mom.
No, it was like someone at the library, so...
Oh my god.
So yeah,
that's heartbreaking. What are the chances of you running into two fucked up people like that in one night?
Well, yeah. But yeah, the witness says that they saw Devoid leave the van, go up the library steps to talk to a man he apparently knew, before the two got into the older man's car.
Oh my god.
So, probably was someone he knew, it sounds like.
Like maybe someone who had paid him for sex work previously?
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, they even asked Duncan to take a polygraph test, which he agreed and passed.
Damn.
So, he was convicted on charges of child molestation, but he was officially excluded as a suspect in the I-70 murders.
Fucking nutty. I thought we solved the case right now.
No. Another suspect was August Gus Kato. He was a resident in Carmel, Indiana. He was briefly detained and interrogated for the murders in Indianapolis, but was quickly released after investigators found no evidence linking him to any of the crimes.
I mean, I'm curious what evidence they would find from the killer.
That's true.
I'm just untrustworthy.
Maybe
Or I don't trust. That makes it sound like you can't trust me.
Another suspect, it's more viable, was a convicted serial killer, Larry Elyer.
Oh.
Eyler? It's Eyler.
I'd say Ayler.
Ayler?
Or Eler, yeah.
Ayler.
Yeah.
Anyways.
He's a serial killer. We don't need to get his name right.
He was a serial killer. He was found guilty of murdering 21 adolescent boys and young men in Indiana and Illinois.
21?
21.
Fuck. Oh my god, if it was him, that's like over 30 victims.
Well, 21, like that was his... Well, you'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, he was actually on death row for a murder of a 16-year-old Daniel Bridges. But I guess they said that there were some inconsistencies in the MO of Larry and that of the I-70 Strangler.
Okay.
Larry killings, he basically killed in like the span of a year, versus the I-70 Strangler killed over the length of 11 years.
Yeah, so much less frequently.
Yeah, and then also Larry stabbed his victims with a knife, and the Strangler obviously strangled
them. Which murders came first? The Larry's victims or the I-70 victims?
They were like around the same time.
Okay, I was gonna say it could have been like a weird escalation thing, like maybe they got more confident and changed how they killed them.
Oh, maybe 1980s. No, it was like around the same
time.
Yeah,
okay.
But yeah, that was like the major like difference, but they both did target homosexuals and dump their bodies near the interstate highways.
So how many serial killers are we at now at that time? There's like 50 of them just in this area.
Yeah, there is.
Oh
there really
my god.
Is. Several victims were found near Richmond, Indiana, where Larry's mom lived, so that's kind of why he got put on their radar.
Oh, damn.
But yeah. So he was awaiting execution in November of 1990, and he basically invited his lawyer, or like had his lawyer invite a bunch of authorities from Illinois and Indiana and basically try to negotiate a plea deal.
Oh, so may not have been the most honest of intentions while doing this.
Well, maybe. So basically, in exchange for commuting his sentence, he would provide information that would help solve more than 20 murders, which he alleged to have committed with the help of his lover, Robert Little.
Oh.
Who was a professor at the Indiana University.
So another serial killer.
Another serial killer, yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck is this story? Like, Indiana fucking sucks.
Well, have you listened to Crime Junkies?
Yeah, they're there, huh?
They're there, and they're always talking about how there's like hella serial killers there.
Oh my god.
Which
At least
is
it's
like...
not Alaska, I guess. I feel like Alaska's worse.
I feel like it's easier to get away with than Alaska.
Oh.
Anyways.
Scary.
Prosecutors in the 7 of 9 counties agreed to bargain with him on the sole exception of Cook County, Illinois, where Larry had actually been convicted of killing that 16-year-old. But yeah, shortly after, the Vermilion County Attorney's Office reopened its investigation into the murder of 23-year-old Stephen Agan, which is another victim, unrelated to the 12 or the other 4 that I mentioned.
Being a gay man in this area at that time was like a death sentence. Ugh.
Stephen had been sniped to death in December 19th, 1982. So actually, fearing new charges, Larry wrote a 17-page confession concerning the murder of Stephen. But yeah, in his confession, he claimed that he committed it, or like murdered him, with the help of Robert Little. And because he like basically confessed, they offered him a plea deal. So basically they said, okay, plead guilty and we'll give you a 60-year sentence, which I guess is better than the death penalty.
Hey, big true.
But yeah, Larry took it, and he actually became a key witness and testified against Robert.
Damn.
But because there was no physical evidence that implicated him, and he claimed that he had gone to visit his mom in Florida, they found him not guilty.
So in the end, someone did end up using their mom as an alibi.
Yeah, Robert Little.
Like, sounds legit. His mom would never lie for him.
But yeah. 2 days after Larry's death, on March 8th, 1984.
Fuck, dude.
Well, so that's why I meant, like, he was... They know for sure he killed 21 people.
Yeah.
So I think he was only, like...
Sure.
No, I think it was him. Oh, but yeah, after they, like, found out that information... about him, like, murdering and burying the bodies, they basically just named him a prime suspect in the I-70 Strangler case.
But that will never be confirmed or not.
No.
I mean, it would be interesting if he was, because he buried his other victims.
Well,
leave him on the freeway.
that's why, according to the investigators, he stopped dumping the bodies of his victims in 1991 after he had bought the Fox Hollow farm, which he would use as a burial site for his victims.
Oh, no. Fuck that. Ugh.
So that's why it kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But as of 2021, no physical evidence has linked Herb to the I-70 victims.
Just a theory.
Yeah, just a theory. But they kind of, like, basically think it's him, so I don't think they're really doing much anymore.
Well, I mean, with how it seems over there, there's probably at least 4 other main suspects.
True. But actually, Ted Fleischkaker?
What a name.
He's an editor-in-chief for a gay newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
He basically claims that Herb wasn't responsible for the murders and accuses police of misconduct, saying that they basically are using him as a convenient excuse to close the cases ahead of a municipal election, while the real killer or killers remain at large.
Fuck.
I was like, well,
that's a good point.
I mean, he might be right. We don't know.
Close them and be like, all right, now elect me a sheriff.
Yeah, it's like
I just closed cases.
Yep, it was this guy Herb that killed himself, so we will never know. But we're pretty sure it's him.
Yeah. Also, I'm the one who found that out, so elect me. 3 years later. Well, we're not totally sure. Well.
Well, this, you see, the evidence kind of shows that it would be him.
I'm gonna Google this when I'm done. Read fast.
No, it did take me a while.
Fuck, man. Every time that I was like, oh, it's this person, you're like, but then there's this other serial killer, right?
Yeah. But then there was these other, like, murders.
Oh my God. And they weren't even, like, suspects for no reason. They're suspects because they for sure killed people. Like, what the fuck was that story? I'm gonna Google that. Did you have anything else to say?
Don't go to Indiana.
Yeah, fuck Indiana for real.
I'm just kidding.
Don't time travel to Indiana in the 80s if you're a gay man. There we go.
Yeah, don't do that.
Sorry if you hear all the sirens outside.
Yeah, I hear
appropriate timing. There's a lot. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I mean, it worked. Like, they're on the way to get you, Herb, and all the other dudes in Indiana. It's a long drive, but they're coming for you. Yeah, that was a lot to process. I will be processing more when I edit and Googling everything about this. Don't go to Indiana, though. I mean, just at least back then, don't time travel. That's a whole nother thing. But thank you all for listening. If you want to email us, you can at thespookyshit.pod@gmail.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are spookyshit_pod, and our website is spookyshit-pod.com. Thank you all for listening. As always, we will be back again next week with some spooky shit. Yeah, I had to do it to him. Okay, bye. Bye. Bye, Brayden.
Bye, Michelle.